If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspirational juice. It is December the 9th, 2023, and today the topic is the blame game. Yes, y'all, it's the blame game. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, everybody. I hope that you guys had a fabulous Friday. Mine was just fine. Thank you to those that tuned in to last night's episode of the GSL Talk Show with the praying coach, Mr. Benjamin Benson. And if you missed it, friends, just go to GodSexAndLove.com and you guys should see it between now and next Friday. So, I had a good day yesterday, man. Yeah, my day yesterday was just fine. Everything didn't happen the way I had hoped. For example, the holiday pizzas that I thought we were going to be enjoying were not on the shelves yet. So I'm like, man, listen, why are they on the app if they're not on the shelves? But anywho, so we did not have that. But we did do our gingerbread train. And then we also had a little karaoke time and whatnot last night. So that was our Christmas activity. It seemed to have gone over well. And yeah, man, so that was the main thing in regards to last night. During the day, I told y'all I had 2 episodes of the GSL Talk Show that I had to record, and both of those happened. Great conversations with both of the gentlemen I talked to yesterday. One of them is the owner and creator of a dating app called Koi Amore. Yes, Koi Amore. And it's a dating app that is geared towards introverts. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sharing that. I mean, you guys aren't going to see his episode until sometime next year probably. But I'm going ahead and share that because you guys know I got a heart for my single people. And so if that's something that can help you, if you feel like you are an introvert, things of that nature, or if you got love for introverts, right? If you could be totally fine matching with an introvert, then Koi Amore might be for you. So you guys check that out. I believe it's koiamore.com, and you guys should be able to download it as well on I guess any app platform or whatever. Yeah, 2 great conversations yesterday. Technically, 3 shows for me, and then I also did the rehearsal for the show that's coming up. I believe the actress is doing really well, and so yeah, man, good things are cooking as always around here. Thankful for yesterday. Great day. Speaking of, I hope that you guys, again, had a great day. You know, again, I hope that you all have been having an amazing year. Y'all know my testimony. You know, it has been a blessed year. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at some things right now, and I'm like, ooh, I want to do some stuff. You know, is it that time? Things like that, because, you know, there's, for example, a certain, I guess you would consider it to be an account. There's a certain account I haven't been touching. You know, I've been keeping it as an emergency only situation, but with, you know, Christmas around the corner and knowing that sometimes things take time to come, X, Y, and Z. And I know funds are coming, but at the same time, they're coming at pretty much after Christmas, where I'm like, is it that time now? Does this count as an emergency moment? Because it's blowing my mind that, again, I have not had to touch those funds pretty much all year, which is a blessing. That is a huge blessing and a testament to the change that God has done in my life. Thankful for the job. Shout out to Mountain West. Speaking of them, today I'll be going to the Christmas party that we're hosting for the kids ministry and whatnot. So that's going to be exciting. My plan for my treats to bring didn't come through, so I need to run out and run some errands today before then to make good on what I said I was going to bring. Because sometimes, again, when you place an order online, things take time to get here. More time than I thought that it was going to take. But anyway, but yeah, man, I'm here, man, to hopefully encourage you and inspire you this morning in regards to this conversation about the blame game. So what led me to this morning? Well, I would say a few things, but ultimately, I started to think about joy this morning, and yes, it made me think about the joy on my son's face last night while we were doing our Christmas activities, things like that. But ultimately, my mind shifted from joy to this concept of personal responsibility. So that's what I plugged in into openbible.info this morning. I plugged in personal responsibility, and the verses that I saw were resonating with me. And then ultimately, as I started to think about the verses and write them down, the phrase "the blame game" came into my heart and mind, and so that's where the topic came from today. Now, again, like I said, there's a lot of things that inspires this conversation. Outside of that as well, I saw this quote yesterday that I ended up sharing on the God, Sex, and Love Facebook. And again, just a reminder, follow us on social media, y'all, because if you guys need inspiration throughout the day, I try my best to share quotes and things that I come across and information that I feel is important for us to know, things like that, on the platform. So this is a quote that I shared there, but I ended up writing it down this morning so I could share it with you guys now, all right? This is what it says. It says, Judas had the best pastor, the best leader, the best advisor, the best counselor, yet he failed. The problem is not the leadership or the church you go to. If your attitude or character doesn't change or your heart doesn't transform, you will always be the same. Excuse me, but okay. So with that being said, we cannot play the blame game. I know that I've talked about this before. I don't know if I talked about it in detail like this or whatever, but I mean, I know I've saved throughout different juices like, hey, we can't blame anybody else. I often refer to Adam and Eve and how they was pretty much playing the blame game, things like that. And again, all of that stuff is good. You guys can go and read those accounts and just be reminded of, the first humans and how the blame game was just enrooted in us since them, right? But at the end of the day, again, there's no one else to blame for, your life, and things of that nature. Yes, there are ups and downs in life, right? Yes, there are things that happen that are out of our control and things of that nature. However, when it comes to your day-to-day journey, when it comes to choices that you make, when it comes to how you handle situations, when it comes to just different things that we experience in life that has a direct connection to the things that we say, do, we have to take some personal responsibility. So at the end of the day, again, if we're not where we want to be in life, then ultimately you have to look at the common denominator. That's what I did during the cultivation period, and I'm gonna stand on that. I mean, I know I've questioned this year, wow, is that journey just for me? Like, I'm trying to share it with other people. It don't seem like it's working for them, X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, again, we can try our best to lead someone to the water, but we can't make them drink. And that doesn't make the water less refreshing just because they don't want to drink it. So, I rebuke that idea that what I experienced during the cultivation period isn't valid. I rebuke the idea that, the things I try to share with people, today, and whatnot, it isn't valid just because, again, it may not be quote unquote working for them because they're not quote unquote making the changes and whatnot to receive it and do it and things like that. So so with that being said, again, I'm going to do my best to continue to stand on, again, the things that God has given me. And I'm here to tell you that what I experienced during the cultivation period worked. Not only just because I was like, oh, God, da 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 da. But I feel like what happened with me was, again, understanding that I am the common denominator in my life. I'm the only constant thing outside of God in my life. So that means that I have to change. And I mean, that could be a word for me today as well. But back then, I had certain things in my heart and mind. I had marriage, career. I didn't feel like my career was where I wanted it to be. And, I was doing my thing. I was living a single life and I had my apartment and I had a job and all that type of stuff. All that was cool. But yeah, those were the main things. I wanted to be in another place career wise. I wanted to be using all my gifts, which I am walking and living today in a purpose that is beyond what I even imagined. And then I wanted love and marriage and all of that, and I'm walking in those things today. And during that time, one of the main things I did was look like through God's word, right, through his leadership, looked at myself in the mirror and saw the things that needed to change within me to get to where I wanted to be. I said I wanted to be married, so that means I needed to stop fooling around. I needed to stop entertaining friends with benefits and things of that nature. Now, am I perfect? And when I met my husband, was everything, and like, was I doing everything perfect? No. But what I'm saying is there was a point in my life where I had to be real with myself and say, you know what, Miracle? You want to change some stuff. You want things to look different. You got to do and be different. And I believe that by doing that in that season, it led up to, again, what you guys see today. So again, when are we going to take personal responsibility? I know we're approaching the end of this year and we're approaching a new year. And again, we like to talk about resolutions. We like to talk about doing things new. We like to talk about doing things different at the beginning of the year. I challenged y'all the other day to start doing that today. But hey, by all means, whatever you need to motivate you to do something different, by all means, use it, right? And so, I don't know why. But I'm just going to tell y'all what has been happening. Basically, over the past week or so, I've been really feeling led to share things, specifically on the Actress Miracle Sims profile. So again, y'all can follow me on social media for more inspiration. But I've been feeling led to share things that is kind of like, how to, just basically some different how-tos of, changing your life, basically. Now, some of them are catered towards women and things like that, but I think some of them are general as well, where both men and women can use it as motivation to how can you change your life and stuff like that. Just some steps, some practical things that we can start to do to shift things in our life. It's not about manifestation. It's not about just thinking about money and, stuff like that. It's more so like, again, changing your mindset, waking up early, new practices, things of that nature, to again get us where we want to be. And so again, but if you don't decide to, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to do it, and then it's a totally different thing to actually do it. Right? It's one thing to just say it and say, oh, this is something I wish, something I want, this is something I desire, X, Y, and Z, and then to put forth some effort into the thing. So I'm proud of my husband, for example. I'm proud of him because he's been challenging himself to get up early. He's been challenging himself to, take on, he's basically making his own schedule these days, which, I'm used to doing as somebody that's been an entrepreneur for a while. But he's trying to get used to it because, again, he's used to like the military lifestyle, or he's used to being on a job or something like that where it's already set in stone what things are supposed to quote unquote be and stuff. And so he's challenging himself by creating his own system, and it's been challenging for him because it's been different, right? And he's experiencing, I guess, different things because of it. But like I said, I'm proud of him because at the end of the day, again, it's one thing to just say, I want to wake up early. And then it's another thing to set the alarm. It's another thing to be intentional about, making sure you get up and things of that nature. So again, like even stuff like that, even with me, right? And these may be simple examples. These may not be the best examples or whatever, but I'm just trying to show ways that this is operating in our lives, whether they be big or small, right? And so with me, right, last year, I know I had a conversation with my husband and I was pretty much sharing with him, how I wanted us to spend more time as a family. I wanted us to, um, have more time together as a couple, but then also as, our family of three and things like that, right? But at some point I had to start, putting my money where my mouth is. It's one thing to, again, just tell my husband all day, hey, I want us to do this, I want us to do that, and then blame him if it don't get done. Or I could start being intentional and putting money to the side to create experiences, and things like that. And one thing I do see, and again, another thing I commend my husband for is that in these moments that I've done my best to curate or create, he's been more involved. Like last year, Mia and NJ made the gingerbread house, or I let him make it and I was, it was just me and NJ. This year, it was our whole family doing the gingerbread experience, things like that. And that's important to me. Like, I wanted us to make sure we, have that type of time and, have family moments and fond memories and things like that. And so I appreciate him for being involved. I appreciate him for, entertaining his wife's wish, right? But then at the same time, I appreciate the Lord for providing, right, me wisdom on ways to, again, manage the money that's coming in and things like that, ways to be a good steward. Again, that was another thing that I have been working on since last year and whatnot. And the Lord has done what he said he was going to do. I had no clue. All I knew was around last year, around this time of year, I just felt like I need to become a better steward over money. I feel like money is coming my way and I need to be a good steward over it. And lo and behold, it has been Abundance 2023. Y'all have heard the journey. The job has been a miraculous, wonderful blessing in our lives. Not only for me, but then I would say for our household. And yeah, God has provided, God has provided. And I believe that I've tried my best to be a good steward over what he has given and provided. Therefore, we've been able to have more family experiences this year. We've been able to, I might not have done everything that I thought that we were going to do, but at the same time, I do recall us going bowling this year, if I'm not mistaken, and that was something that we didn't have to worry about. It wasn't coming out of our, household situation. It was something that I was able to do for the family, and we made it a family moment, just different things like that, even the Christmas experiences and stuff like that are happening. Like, sure, I had to make some moves and stuff, but I'm making sure I'm getting the stuff done that needs to be done. And then, taking whatever is left and, making things happen and stuff. And it's been, so anyway, what I'm saying, I share these testimonies. I share these ways that this works in your life is because, again, sometimes you have to make the choice. You have to make the decision. You have to make the move to do whatever it is, right? Again, I can't sit here and just complain to my husband about wanting to have family time and then not be willing to invest in it. Not be willing to, and then blame him at the end of the day that we don't have it. So that's the thing, friends. If you want to see something changed in your life, you got to understand that you have to take personal responsibility. I've been sitting here talking for a while, so let me go ahead and give you guys some verses so y'all can understand that this ain't just coming from me, okay? So Galatians 6:5, it says, for each will have to bear his own load. Listen, that's something, again, that I've just been really, I don't know if the Lord just really just reminding me that, again, each and every one of us have to bear our own load. It doesn't matter how much I want something so bad for somebody else. At the end of the day, they got to want it for themselves. They got to make the moves for themselves. They got to be willing to do the work, make the changes, whatever it is, for themselves, because we all have to bear our own load. And that can be, again, the huge load to the small load. Again, it could be as small as saying, hey, I want to wake up in the morning, exercise, whatever it is. I want to wake up in the morning so I can, get more hours in the day, whatever it is, take more time with the Lord. That would be a great thing to wake up in the morning to do. It's been a life-changing thing for me. I would recommend it all day, every day, right? To wake up in the morning with the intention to, hear something from the Lord. Because, again, it's been a great experience for me. Things like that. We can say it all day long, but until you set the alarm and make yourself get up, So again, your load can be as small as that, or it can be a huge load. It can be, again, another life-changing cultivation period type of situation. Like, and I do believe that there's a lot of people that are in the midst of cultivation period right now. And I'm not just talking about being single. I'm talking about, again, just life-changing choices. Choices that, again, I sit here and talk about that period of my life because I do feel like, again, that's what got me to be here today. Like, I have no clue where I would be if I did not make the steps that I made back then. And then the steps that was made after that. Again, that doesn't mean just because I went through one growing season doesn't mean that my growing season stops. My growing season continues and will continue until, the Lord takes me home, So there's always going to be something to learn and grow and do. But again, I can't blame nobody else at the end of the day because I have to bear my own load. Here's another verse, y'all. 2 Corinthians 5:10. It says, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat in Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil." Now, that might be Pope today. You won't want to think about being in front of the judgment seat, X, Y, and Z. That's one of the huge decisions. Like that, first I was just talking about little small stuff, waking up early, changing your lifestyle, stuff like that. Like this right here is ultimately like the biggest choice you ever make. Again, to kind of quote Miss Jackie Hill Perry, yeah, what you do with the message of Christ, that pretty much is the only thing that matters at the end of the day. And again, what you choose to do with that message will ultimately determine what you do in your life and whether good or evil. So things like that. Again, if you choose to believe in Christ and stuff like that, it's not going to be easy to do evil. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to be convicted. You're going to probably, fall before the Lord and confess, repent, all of that and things like that. True believers, true followers of Christ, things of that nature. But then for those that, you just living willy-nilly, you ignoring God, you ignoring your purpose, you ignoring everything that you were supposed to do on earth, things like that, then, that's considered to be evil. And you will be paid accordingly, again, to what you do. So again, that's one of those huge decisions that each and every one of us have to make. And you can't blame nobody else at the end of the day for that choice and decision because we all have free will. Again, you can't blame the pastor, you can't blame the folks at church, you can't blame folks online, you can't blame nobody else with what you decide to do with that message of Christ, because that's your personal choice, and what you do with it matters. And again, I guess I'm just beating this dead horse here, but I'm just gonna say it again that at the end of the day that again, when it comes to this conversation about Christ, like people like to point fingers. They like to say, well, Christians are hypocrites and people in the church, they this and they that. And you want to try to blame everybody else. My mama was hurt in the church and I was hurt in the church and I don't want to go because the people, whatever the case may be. When at the end of the day, you can't blame, none of them can stand up for you and take that L. If you decide to reject Christ based on what you feel about somebody else. At the end of the day, Christ dealt with Pharisees, Sadducees, same type of people you talking about. So, at the end of the day, again, we can't use anybody else as an excuse. We can't blame anybody else for the message of Christ and what we decide to do. And this goes for, again, from small to the big stuff, right? To the small stuff when it comes to your personal life, your personal choices, your personal, decisions and things that you're doing in your life, and you want something different, but you're doing the same things over and over again, like that type of stuff. And then again, to this huge decision of Christ. Like, the blame game cannot be played in this scenario. So I got one more verse, y'all. I got one more verse. And it's 2 Peter 1:10. It says, therefore, brothers, be all the more diligent to confirm your calling and election. For if you practice these qualities, you will never fail. At the end of the day, I guess this is the challenge for us today. Let's be diligent about confirming the calling. Let's be diligent about figuring out what it is that God has elected us to do and getting into the will of God. Again, I had no clue back in Florida days, right? I had no clue during the quote unquote cultivation period that I would be doing this today. I was in the beginning stages of stuff. I saw some stuff back in the day. Like I had started, doing some stuff online, getting bold online, sharing things like that. But I didn't know I would be here today doing these things. I had the desire and whatnot for marriage, but I didn't know, I would be in the marriage that I'm in. I didn't know, I would have a son. I didn't know the blessings and the calling that God had put on my life. But I'm thankful for it. And again, the only thing I can contribute to it is one, the Lord changing my heart and mind about what I felt like was success. He changed my heart and mind about, the things I quote unquote wanted and shifted it into what he wanted and start focusing on what he wanted for me to do. And that's ultimately the juice this morning. I mean, if you guys look at the Go Deeper section, there's no verses today. You guys can go deeper. I'm sure you guys can find more verses centered around all this yourself. But I put a little challenge in there for us today. Something practical, again, something that we can do to get us started, to shift this whole idea of blaming somebody else and start taking some action for yourself, okay? So here's what you guys can do. You can make a to-do list. Make a list of everything you want to do. Just your heart desire, whatever it is. Oh, I want to start waking up early. Oh, I want to exercise on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Oh, whatever it is. Just make your list, right? And then challenge number 2 is to make a list of the things that you feel like God wants you to do. And then the next challenge after that is just to compare and contrast that list. Is there anything that's similar? Is there anything that's completely different? Things of that nature. That's your challenge. That's the Go Deeper section today. You guys can, do that and, read those verses that I have read to you guys today for yourself and let the Lord lead you and guide you, because like I said, that's the juice, y'all. That is the juice. Now, the Bible verse of today is 1 Corinthians 13:13. It says, and now abideth faith, hope, charity. These 3, but the greatest of these is charity. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all on Monday, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options. Consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.